My two children, Nimi and Fimishe, role plays a lot. Nimi plays baby, while his kid sister plays mommy. Mommy gives Nimi a lot of attention and care, and Nimi has come to become fond of playing baby because he gets to enjoy this attention and this affection that mommy gives to him. They do this all the time up until when Nimi clocked 4. And one of those days, his younger sister called on to him and said, baby. And immediately Nimi protested and said, call me daddy. From that day onwards, they still role play, but Nimi becomes daddy, the kid sister becomes mommy, and then her teddy bear is now baby. What happened to Nimi? There was a paradigm shift in him. He clocked 4, and something told him that he no longer is supposed to be called baby, but daddy. I think that is one of the peculiar things about growing. But sadly, there are several of us that marks milestones in our lives and not just mind stones. We age, but we don't necessarily grow. There are two different things. You can be aging in terms of adding years and all of that, but you need to come to a point where you actually grow. And when you grow, you know that you have outgrown some things. It is very, very critical that probably you are at this stage in your life where, like Nimi, you also need to protest. To those ones who are calling you baby, to those ones who are giving you handouts, to those ones who are treating you like you really still deserve to be treated like a baby, maybe it is time for you to break out of the cocoon of being a baby and protest like Nimi and say, call me daddy. Because that in itself is a measure of growth. Don't get me wrong, I know that change is a word that is not necessarily positive because we do not have positive disposition towards that word. After all, Newton's first law of motion also tells us that much. We do not really like change because it throws a lot of responsibilities our way. We do not really like change because it throws a lot of spanners in the works and messes up with the dynamics of our lives at one point or the other. But change is necessary. We need to get to that point where we also say that we have outgrown some things, and because we have outgrown some things, we can then begin to take on more responsibilities. Enough of the singing, the talking into bed, the lullabies, and all of those things that still keeps us trapped in the cocoon of childishness, when we should have outgrown those things and move on to taking on more responsibilities in our lives. The truth is that if we were to be given a choice to remain children, most of us will make that choice because as a child, really, you don't have too much of responsibilities. The things that daddy and mommy thinks about are not your headache. How food gets put on the table, you really don't think about that as a child. How your school fees is paid, you really don't bother about that as a child. But you see, that child will also needs to grow to a point where the child also needs to take on responsibilities. And that child also now needs to begin to understand what it means to put food on the table, what it means to go out early in the morning and come back late at night, just so that there can be a roof on the head. That is the responsibility that growth throws our way. And either we like it or not, we cannot continue to age, we need to grow. So when you are craving for growth, you also need to understand that growth comes with its attendant responsibilities. And you also need to be prepared to take on the responsibilities that growth will throw your way. But the good thing about it is that when you take on the responsibilities that growth throws your way, you become much more responsible. And that helps you even in your journey of life. So I want to challenge your thoughts today and say to you that instead of aging, I need you to grow. And so I have always said to myself that instead of asking people, how old are you? Maybe we should start asking them, how grown are you? Because some people are simply old. They are not grown. And it is time for us to begin to jack them back to reality and let them know that they don't necessarily need to grow old. They just need to grow. And when you grow, you outgrow some things. The conversation continues on all our social media platforms. I am Femi Babatunde, and this is Punchlines.